Okay, here we go. I just had a message from a guy today. He wanted to know some information about these LR308s and what I did to do all the mods to it. I'm going to point out, you need some tools. It's not something you can just put together with a vice grip and a crescent wrench and be done with it. So we'll attempt to explain what happened here and how to take these things apart and how to work on them so that you can kind of do some of the mods that I've done here. You have to have a little bit of aptitude mechanically. Let me, I'll take this bipod off here quick. So I'm getting these two. That way it's easier for me to explain what's going on with it. And that's my design that I've been working on. Works out pretty good so far. Okay, you normally have your gas block up here. Most AR15s, they're pinned in. A lot of the DPMS LR308s, which is what we have here, they have set screws that go on. This is actually a Precision Reflex incorporated gas block here. I wanted some low profile. It comes with this big bulbous thing on there. Had to get rid of that. Kind of was in front of the sight. This sight is a Magpul, flips up. Not part of the gas block, so you don't cook it, so it doesn't melt on you. This is a quad rail. Also got that from DPMS. A lot of these parts I get right from the manufacturer. That way you know they're going to fit. So I'll get started. To take this gas block off, you'll take these couple of set screws off. This will come straight up off of the barrel. It's a little bit wider diameter than it is actual barrel. And then there's kind of a stop. It actually gets thicker back behind here. So when you slide it on, it stops. What you got to do is you got to clock it with the hole that's in the barrel. That way you get all your gas pressure going down the tube. So pull that off. Now if you've got a fixed sight, like on this AR15, they're going to be pretty much the same. This one here, this is the AR15. Tim from Australia is going to love this stuff because apparently they're pretty hard to get down there, these AR rifles. So another video of these will probably make him envious. Anyway, this is a typical front sight. You got the posts and everything on here. There's a pin back here. You got to take a punch and a hammer. It's tapered, so it only comes out one way. I believe it comes out from the left side of the rifle, this being the left side. It'll punch out that way. I mean, you can try that. If it doesn't come out, try the other way, but I'm pretty sure it's this way. And then this whole thing, a lot of you guys got muzzle devices on, either brakes or flash hiders, stuff like that. You can probably pick this tool up from a local gun store, Midway USA, whatever. But it has the fittings that fit on here to take this thing off. So you got your little wrench set up here. Now what do you do to hold the rifle? A lot of this stuff's on pretty tight. They sell, typically, remove the upper from the lower, and they sell a block that you actually put into a vise. So you're going to need a vise, going to need a hammer, going to need punches. I have gunsmithing punches here. A lot of this stuff's pretty inexpensive. The block that you mount it to, you can either get one for the 308 models or you can get one for the AR15s. You can get one that is pinned for both of them. Don't care what you do, you're probably going to need it. If not, you're going to have to vise this thing up, wrap it in a towel or something and crimp it tight, because metal on metal contact is going to destroy your parts. I was able to do it in a vise, but you got to wrap it good in a towel and crimp it tight in here so that you can get a hold of this front end. So I'll put this one back down. You can usually, what we found is you can use a leather belt that'll help you get the bite on something like this, and you can use a channel lock. But anyway, there's a lock ring right here. I don't know if anyone can see it. This is a lock ring. It's got some like serrations in it. They have a special wrench for this, or you can use just a small punch. Be real careful and lock it down, because this unscrews. This is all right-handed threads, so this you would turn this way. That way you can unthread this. From the factory they're on ultra tight. So you want to have this upper part held good in the vise, preferably on a block that it's pinned in. Then you can get your belt tool or whatever and turn it this way, and that way this whole thing will unthread. It's real fine thread and it'll unthread. Free float tubes or whatever, that's what this is, quad free float. Take the factory one off, then you can take this lock ring off. Usually when you get a 4-end, they give you a new barrel nut that fits this kind of style. That's what happened here, because you have a lock ring that fits up tight against the barrel nut. The barrel nut's underneath here. You got eyelets. There are little holes to bite into. And you're gonna need this, because barrel nuts are pretty tight. They actually have 1/2-inch drive stuff. You've got an LR308 end, and you've got an AR10 end for like armor light stuff and different models. So you actually got 2 pin patterns here. You can put a 1/2-inch drive ratchet or breaker bar or whatever, but the barrel nut's torqued on pretty good, and you're going to want to use that to take the barrel nut off. You're not going to get it off without this tool, I guarantee you that. So you got to have this. It's runs, I think, right around 40 bucks. So that's 2 tools and punches. Unscrew that barrel nut, this comes straight off. Well, now the guy asked me, well, how do you know if you get the gas tube lined up and everything? There's actually a little hole inside this upper that you can see, and the holes line up inside there when you put the new upper on and stuff, but you got your new barrel nut, you screw the new barrel nut down. That way you got your thing that screws to this. Just got to make sure that's lined up all the way straight through and that the tube's straight. So when your bolt comes forward, it lines up on that gas tube inside. There's a little gas insert that slides over that. And then shouldn't have any issues there. A lot of people are like, oh, clear weapon, blah, blah, blah. I'm not into the safety thing. You know, you people that jump on videos and you didn't clear that rifle, blah, blah, blah. I usually keep them empty. If not, keep your damn hand out of the trigger. Don't drop it on the floor, and don't chamber it. But if I must, I'll clear it. It's an empty mag, nothing in there. So you people can freak out about that kind of stuff. There's nothing in it. Okay, rifle is clear. So if somebody comes walking in here, they're not going to get shot or whatever. But so that's the best thing to describe. You screw the nut on. Tighten everything up. There's a lot of steps in here. If you really do not know what you're doing or you're afraid to touch it, probably the best thing to do is to take the thing to a gunsmith. Quit screwing around, because you can wreck stuff and the gunsmiths get kind of upset because you're in there messing with it and you got stuff all screwed up, and then you give it to them. They get kind of ticked off because you're in there farting with it. So if you know it, if you feel confident on taking it apart, that's one thing, but you are going to need some tools. You're going to need a vise, going to need punches. That's just the bare essentials to work on these. Screwdrivers, stuff like that. I've gone through this whole thing, so I know up and down, but there's little parts, little pins, stuff like that. We're just working on the upper, you really don't have to worry about any pins until you get up here. Triggers, got tons of pins, stuff. Don't even mess with the trigger if you don't know what you're doing. So, but the message I got from the guy today is I think he had an upper receiver, because the one that's all smooth on the side is gay. I know that, pretty gay. And the smooth bore had one sling stud in it or whatever, and you really can't do enough. It's basically set up for target. This one, you got quad rail. Quad rails make it really heavy, a lot heavier. This rifle's 16 pounds, so it is definitely not something you're just going to be CQBing. And you know, all you guys that got these stupid ass comments about blah blah blah, CQB, COD. One guy left me a message the other day, this is a great rifle, they should have that on COD. Are you fucking kidding me, dude? Just play your video games and leave the gun stuff to the real guys that mess with guns, because I'm tired of that video game crap. Yeah, I'll play it too, but they're 2 different worlds. A real gun versus some little controller in your hand. These 2 things aren't even on the same plane, so don't even compare them. COD. Video game guys can't even get most of the crap right anyway. Shoot somebody 300 times with a 308 and they're still running around, yeah, that's gonna work. Whatever. I got some of the other rifles that I've been working on. This is AR15, I just want to go over this real quick. Got the MS3 sling on it. A lot of this stuff I prefer to keep dark earth or tan desert colors. If you're going to go with a no-brainer camouflage, desert tan's going to work in a lot of stuff, even in the forest and blah blah. A lot of the vegetation on the ground typically is dead unless it's real rainy, then it's green. I got a light on here. I got some filters. 16-inch barrel, the rifle length. You got the mag pull hold piece here, so you can keep your thumb up over the barrel, get a little bit better control on it. I got the versatile sling ring here to go from side to side. And this rifle might have some ammunition in it. I usually do keep it. I'll clear it before I mess with it, so all you safety people will relax. Nothing shot out, chamber's empty. Close it back up. But I put a lot of mag pull stuff on here. The next step on this AR rifle is to probably take this handle off. I'll probably get a flip up back here. Hopefully lines up, and then I'll probably put some sort of a aim point or some sort of red dot type scope on there. That way I can get up and find, you know, it helps you acquire target acquisition a lot better. Getting tongue tied now. But that's pretty much it. Guy that asked the questions. If you have any other stuff to ask, let me know. I'll be happy to do that. But if you're not into AR rifles as far as taking them apart, yeah, you can learn. You might destroy something, but prepare to pay. I mean, the tools cost a little bit of money to work on them with. The block, I don't have one of those here, but they're typically plastic. They're made out of poly. They got pins in them to pin them, and they got a section to hold it to the vise. So you can take the upper, you know, upper, I'm talking upper lower in case anyone doesn't know. These pins come out, and this whole piece separates. So make sure it bolts forward. This particular one's pretty tight, so I got to kind of jam up on it. And you pull this other pin out, and they separate. This is the upper part I'm talking about. I don't want to take it apart because I really don't need to, but basically you pull the other pin out and it separates. You got the trigger group here, and then you've got the upper. So they've got a block that pins into this. You put that in a vise, and then you're ready to go do all your work. But if you don't have that stuff, I suggest taking it to a gunsmith that does. Just make sure you find a gunsmith that's actually worked on these too. Typically they all have, but you have a few that haven't, so. That pretty much concludes the video. Any questions, just let me know.